We start with Japan's fight against the coronavirus. Authorities are expanding a state of emergency to 3 more prefectures from Sunday. Hokkaido, Okayama, and Hiroshima all say their medical services are under heavy strain. Infections have been surging in the northernmost prefecture of Hokkaido. It confirmed 566 new cases on Saturday, its third largest daily tally so far. Under the emergency declaration, residents across the prefecture will be urged to avoid non-essential outings. Places such as restaurants and bars will be asked to cut their opening hours. Measures will be even tougher in the main city of Sapporo. Venues there offering alcohol or karaoke will be asked to close entirely. Further south, Hiroshima Prefecture reported 238 new infections, its highest ever daily count. The situation is getting worse in Okayama Prefecture as well. Infections rose after the spring holiday period in early May. Officials there say 75% of its hospital beds were occupied as of Tuesday. Meanwhile, members of a task force meeting in Gifu have agreed to ask the central government to expand the state of emergency to their prefecture. Gifu recorded its highest daily tally on Friday and has reported over 100 new cases a day for 9 straight days. People involved in coronavirus vaccine distribution have been working to speed up the rollout. It's hoped the jabs will lead the way out of the pandemic. Kobe City plans to start inoculating up to 2,000 residents per day at a large venue from May 25th. As a special measure, dentists will be helping out there and around the country after receiving training.
I've got the feel of it now. I want to help vaccinate as many people as quickly as possible.
On Saturday, Tokyo confirmed 772 new cases. Officials say the number of people in serious condition increased by 1 from the day before to 85. Osaka reported 785 new cases. The number has topped 700 again after declining on Friday. The health ministry says coronavirus patients in serious condition nationwide hit a new high of 1,231. More than 6,400 new coronavirus infections have been recorded around the country on Saturday. Officials have confirmed 93 deaths. Turning to Taiwan, where authorities have raised the alert level to curb the spread of the coronavirus as new cases continue to tick upward. The number of infections in Taiwan began to increase days ago. The daily count of newly confirmed cases hit 180 on Saturday. Antivirus measures are being tightened in the cities of Taipei and New Taipei for the next 2 weeks. Indoor gatherings in those cities must be limited to fewer than 5 people. Outdoor gatherings must be restricted to fewer than 10. Movie theaters and museums must shut down, but workplaces and schools can stay open. The spike in infections has prompted concerns. People have been rushing to supermarkets to stock up on daily necessities. Officials are calling for calm. They say there are enough supplies of masks and other items. Taiwan has been containing the virus by strictly enforcing measures such as travel bans and quarantines. Taiwan's vaccination rollout has been slow due partly to the relatively small number of cases. Nearly 190,000 people had gotten their first jabs by Friday. That's less than 1% of the total population. It's been 49 years since Okinawa returned to Japan from American rule. Residents used the anniversary to call for U.S. military bases to be removed from the prefecture. Around 40 members of civic groups and labor unions gathered in front of the U.S. military headquarters in Okinawa. The usual May 15th Peace March was canceled this year due to the coronavirus pandemic.
I feel that 49 years have passed so quickly, but peace without bases still hasn't been realized in Okinawa.
The bases have long been a source of friction with locals who complain of problems such as noise and unruly service personnel. About 70% of the area used exclusively by U.S. forces in Japan is concentrated in Okinawa. Governor Tamaki Deni wants that to drop to less than 50% in the lead up to next year's 50th anniversary. Members of Japan's Ground Self-Defense Force and the U.S. and French militaries have taken part in a joint drill in southwestern Japan. In the first ever such exercise between the GSDF and the French Army, French troops jumped from a GSDF helicopter simulating landing on a remote island. The drill involved about 200 personnel and was open to the media. It was apparently aimed at highlighting multilateral cooperation in light of China's increasing maritime assertiveness. One of Japan's biggest retailers has been shopping overseas. Seven & i Holdings says it's closed a $21 billion deal for a U.S. chain of gas stations and convenience stores. It's bought around 3,800 Speedway outlets from Marathon Petroleum Corporation. They're dotted around the country, making up America's third largest convenience store chain. The Japanese company is already the leading convenience store operator in the U.S. with over 9,000 shops. The move comes as the firm increasingly looks beyond Japan and its shrinking population. But two U.S. Federal Trade Commission officials cast a shadow over the deal. In a statement, they said they have reason to believe this transaction is illegal, citing antitrust concerns. Their statement is not legally binding, however, and can't block the purchase. The U.S. subsidiary of Seven & i said the acquisition was legally allowed and that statements or implications to the contrary are false. China has hit a key milestone in its push to blaze a trail in space exploration. It's become only the third country to land a probe on Mars after the U.S. and the Soviet Union. China's space agency says the probe touched down after 11 p.m. UTC on Friday. A rover is now expected to explore the planet's surface. Only America has managed that before. The unmanned Tianwen-1 spacecraft blasted off last July and has been orbiting the red planet since February. Beijing is likely to tout the landing in the lead-up to celebrations for the Chinese Communist Party's 100th anniversary in July. An explosion at a mosque in Afghanistan has killed at least 12 people and wounded more than 20. The blast struck worshippers on the outskirts of the capital, Kabul, during Friday prayers. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. A similar bombing of a public gathering occurred barely 1 week ago. A vehicle laden with explosives detonated on May 8th near the gate of a school in Kabul, followed by more blasts nearby. More than 80 people, including students, were killed. Tensions are rising in Afghanistan as U.S. troops are set to leave the country. They plan to complete their withdrawal by September 11th.
Israeli warplanes have destroyed a Gaza City tower block housing international media agencies. It has been evacuated after an Israeli warning. The landlord has denied Israeli claims of Hamas intelligence in the building. Palestinian officials say 14 people, including 10 members of a single family, were killed in an earlier Israeli strike on a refugee camp. One Israeli has died in a Hamas rocket attack. Voting is underway in Chile to choose 150 delegates to redraft the country's military-era constitution. More than 1,000 candidates are standing in the election, which was sanctioned after last October's referendum on constitutional change. China's first mission to Mars has succeeded in putting a spacecraft on the planet's surface. The Tianwen-1 lander touched down by parachute after surviving the descent. Those are the headlines.